questions will be answered tomorrow. And you're playing against a well-coached team. Tommy does a great job, and a veteran team. So.
What do you guys have to do to offset that veteran part of what they have?
Well, we don't, whatever we have in, which isn't much, just do well with what we have. And let's worry about us, knowing that you're going to have to guard. You have to run back first, and then you have to guard them. They're a terrific three-point shooting team. They've got big people. You know, their front line is as big as ours. You know, you got to guard them. They run their stuff. You know, they run their little back screens, and they run their curl cuts, and they get the ball from one side. They do their pick and rolls are really effective, and their guards shoot it, so you can't go under pick and rolls. They'll come up shooting. We got a challenge on our hands.
Jay Billis said today that this might be Izzo's best running team since the early 2000s with Cleveland and Wildcats.
Yeah, they fly up and down the court, and the guys that are out ahead can make plays, and they have a four-man who can shoot a post. So whether they run them to the block or they trail them, you got to guard people. Like if someone loses a man, there's a three. They're making it. That's how they play.
Haley said last year you guys didn't have that go-to guy, the guy you could throw it in and know he was going to get a bucket or make something happen. And the big change is having that guy in Julius now, and the teammates know that and sort of feed off knowing that you have a guy you can count on.
Yeah, but my thing even to Julius right now, he's had two pretty good games, but that team, they'll know how to take him away. They're going to double team him, and they're going to be really physical, and they're going to sag and make him shoot jumpers. They're going to be really tight, and but you got Dakari you can throw it to, and in the post, and even Willie. I mean, we do have some post play, but this probably is a game that we had our guards go 2 for 11 last game. That can't happen, not in this game, because they're not going to go 2 for 11. So at least you got to match them.
How familiar are your guys with their players, or are you guys just working on games?
Yeah, we haven't. I gave them tape after the game of 10 minutes on their iPads of 10 minutes of one of their games, and that's about it. So I'm concerned about us. I've watched enough tape. Plus, their team's different. Watching last year's tapes, I mean, Knicks, they really won at Knicks. They're not playing that way. So they're running more. They're flying up and down the court. They're playing through their guards versus what they did a year ago.
Well, we talked a lot last night about needing players don't need to buy and drive. How much of that all do you talk to your guys about the boys we have?
I didn't mention it. I mean, every game we play is hyped. I mean that they're making this is a big deal, but it's November. How big a deal is it? It's our next game, and if you lose, you move on. You learn from it. The greatest thing for us is we've learned from every game we've played so far. Now we just went like this, and now it's okay. Now when it gets like this, how are you now? We're going to find out, and we have time to work on it.
When you this early in the year, when you tell the team whether it's a play or a rotation or something to do something, how closely do they do it to what you tell them?
Well, we were doing some baseline out of bounds stuff, and I told them exactly what to do and put it on the board, and Andrew went the wrong way, my point guard. So I called him back in. We just left the timeout, and you went the wrong way, and I drew it up. That's what you have when you have a bunch of young kids. But we're talking a lot about mental discipline. We're talking a lot about breaking down on defense and offense. We're talking a lot on sustaining energy and effort and focus. Giving the ball up early, getting to the third drive, all kind of stuff that they need. But this is truly going to be a process. That's what it's going to be.
What's the most encouraging thing you've seen to this point about this group?
That we've gotten better, that we've taken steps up, that they've learned through every game, and then we come in and work on things, and it becomes them. Like a guy like Andrew, when I give it to Andrew, it's now his, it's not mine. We made a play out there that I said, hey, if the 5 rebounds, this is what I want you to yell out and do. And about 7 plays later, the 5 rebounded, and he did it. I'm like, wow. So he's thinking. We don't have a team full of those kind of guys, but it's good when your point guard is that way.
Now, you mentioned texting back and forth. I know I've seen you guys at recruiting events together, but you've only played one time, I think. Where's that relationship kind of come from?
Just, you know, we came up the same way, assistant coaches and GAs and the 19th assistant, and knew each other and respected each other. And, you know, he's one of those guys that I've talked to a lot. As the season goes on, he'll make me laugh, I make him laugh. And the great thing is, we don't make it personal. It doesn't mean we don't go after recruits hard, or we don't, you know, we've lost guys to them, they've lost guys to us, but it's never personal. Being able to go back and forth, shouldn't it be that way? I tell him it's not fair for our team to play this early, and he says forfeit the game, and I said, okay, officially forfeit the game, go shopping in Chicago. I mean,
So
it's not.
You're saying Izzo's not Patino, is that what you're saying?
That's what you're saying. You know, I mean, this isn't, you know, sometimes we treat it like life and death, or, you know, that I've got to prove I'm better than this guy, or I got to prove I'm better than that guy. And Tommy and I aren't that way, neither one of us. He's a great coach, and he's a great guy, aside from being a great coach.
You said before the year you still want to see these guys under the lights. These lights are a little bit brighter. Is there still that sense of bigger stage, bigger moment? How do they perform?
Well, we got other games coming up after that. It'll be just as bright as this game. And, you know, we'll see. I mean, that's why you play the games, so you can figure out where you need to go with your team. And thank goodness it's not football where you lose a couple early, you're done. Now it's, you know, hey, you get your team right. Keep learning about your team. And we'll see after the game. You know, like I said, I'm encouraged by how we are, but I don't know how that will play out versus a team like Michigan State.
James
With
said
you-
in September, this was a game he was really looking forward to, being in Michigan. Any worries about him?
I talked to him today a little bit. I thought he's like pressing offensively for no reason. Like he's got the ultimate green light. No reason to press you. You've already established who you are as a player. You don't have to play great every night out. Just about every third night out. You've established who you are. So why would you press? If you don't shoot open shots, I take you out of the game. I think he's the best shooter in the country. Now you got to go in games and do it.
With the amount of talent that would be on the floor, would you be surprised if the game goes either way?
Oh yeah, this is like, who knows? I mean, I really, you know, my hope is we play great. That you watch us and you say, man, for 30 practices for them to play that way, wow, they played hard, they played as a unit. Yeah, they break down, but they scrambled, they didn't stop playing, they had a great presence, great spirit about them, and then we move on. If that's a win or a loss, you know, I'd like it to be a win, but if it's a loss, and I get that from this team, it's the building point that we go from. Because right now, there's so many things we haven't been able to go over and talk about. I can't clutter their minds. Right now, we got very little in. This is who we are. This is all we have. Let's make this work.
Last question.
Is this how college basketball really should be? I mean, you've always talked about the super conferences and the big teams for the top five. And this could be a preview for the Final Four.
Well, we've had this in the past, and they used to do the grade 8. I remember, matter of fact, we played Kentucky when they had 11 NBA players, and we won, Jerry, just to remind you of that.
In Detroit.
In Detroit. It was a 2 o'clock game. But again, these early games, when you got teams like, you know, freshmen and sophomores, is it fair for them to go into that? Now, if they feel good about it, then it's fair. They want to play the game, my guys. Like, they want to see where they are. And but we'll learn. And that's the best thing about playing early. You can't learn against Popcorn State. You just can't. You don't learn anything. You learn that you're 30 points better, or 40 points, or 50 points, or 57 points. What does it do? But you can learn when you're playing really good teams.
You signed them up for these things, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. and they'll tell you, I tried to get the dates. I didn't want the date in November this early. So other things we're doing, we're trying to move back so that all the teams get a chance to get their stuff together. But, all right, thanks, guys.
Thanks. Game was Thursday night.
Was it? Was not, it was afternoon. As a matter of fact, it was noon.
Best 3D league in the last 20 years.